Welcome to Assembly Health and Human Services. Would the Secretary please call the roll?
Assemblywoman Gonzalez, Assemblywoman Gorlow, Assemblyman Gray, Assemblyman Hafen, Assemblyman Hibbets, Assemblyman Koenig, Assemblywoman Newby, Assemblyman Wynn, Assemblyman Ornlicker, Assemblywoman Taylor, Assemblywoman Thomas, Chair Peters.
And I am here. Please mark those who are absent as present when they arrive. I expect folks to be in the committee at some point. However, we may have lost one or two to the Senate as they're hearing our bills over there as well. And Assemblyman Ornlicker as present if he was walked in after that was called. Brief housekeeping, please turn off the sound on your electronic devices so we're not interrupting folks. You can provide testimony. It's all on the agenda. We'll do public comment at the end. I think that's the basics of it. We've all been here for 18 days. We know the drill. All right, we're going to jump in. We have one bill today from the Senate. We'd like to thank Senator Pezzina for coming in to present Senate Bill 350, which revises provisions related to graduate medical education. Everyone has had the opportunity to review the bill, so we look forward to the presentation.
Good afternoon, Chair Peters and members of the Assembly Committee on Health and Human Services. For the record, my name is Julie Pezzina, representing the scenic Senate District 12 in Clark County, and I'm so proud to come before you today to present Senate Bill 350. As you know, we're facing a shortage of medical professionals in Nevada. As such, this bill aims to expand graduate medical education opportunities, including residency and fellowship programs in the state, to ensure that Nevada medical school graduates and physicians stay in Nevada to practice medicine after their residencies or fellowships. On a personal note, and I'm sure many of you experienced this when knocking on doors, I had family members crying on their doorstep, speaking to me about spouses, about children, about parents that could not get into a doctor, and particularly to a specialist, oftentimes for several months at a time. And that's how this bill was born. I worked with a number of stakeholders on the bill, and I know time is brief and everyone's schedule has been insane. So what I would say briefly, and while this is not a money committee, the fiscal note was removed from this bill. And also, I've been working with Senator Titus so that in the interim we can look at more funding for graduate medical education, but at the time there is no money request along with this bill because $8.5 million is already part of the governor's budget on this. So this would be the policy behind it. And with that, I believe we have on Zoom today Dean Kahn from UNLV, who will also say a few words, and then I'm happy to answer any questions. And thank you so much again for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for keeping that brief. Dr. Kahn, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you. For the record, Mark Kahn, Dean of the Kirk Kerkorian School of Medicine and Vice President for Health Affairs. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Assembly Committee. To keep things brief, we are short in every specialty across the board per capita for healthcare. Providing funding, state funding for graduate medical education will allow us to increase the number of residents that we can train, which in turn will lead to an increased number of doctors in the state. I really thank everybody for their support. This bill will go a long way to improving healthcare in our state. Thank you.
Thank you for the brief remarks. Are there questions? Sorry, you're okay to take questions now? Yeah, okay. Are there questions from the committee? Yes, Assemblywoman Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to the Dean of Graduate School and Senator. Thank you for bringing the bill. Just quick clarification. I know the fiscal note's removed. There's no money request. You said because this is the policy that's behind what the governor has already put in his bill, in his budget, and has already been approved. So there's not going to be any money request from here, or?
Julie Pezzina for the record. Chair, should I go through you or go direct? Thank you. Great question. So I had initially asked for $17 million on this. because 8.5 million was already put into the GME budget by the governor. So that's already been approved, the 8.5 million. I had hoped because this policy extends the account through the 4 years instead of just the 2 years, so that we can extend this to fellowship programs, which have a larger ramp up time, that we could extend that to 17 million. However, with uncertainty and so many large requests still in, the 8.5 million was rescinded from this that I had requested in addition. So the fiscal note has been removed, the 8.5 million's been removed. So no, there's no money request. This is the policy that goes behind including deans in the decision-making process, including our experts in graduate medical education within the process. But you would not be approving any money here today, nor would Ways and Means be approving any fiscal note or budget for this bill.
I understand you wanted to extend it to the fellowships, but not right now, so I get it.
And thank you, and Julie Pizzina for the record. So it still is a 4-year ramp up, so that 8.5 million could still include fellowships
Oh, okay.
over the 4 years. And I will be working in the interim very hard to come back to this committee with legislation next session to look at more funding for GME.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the follow-up, Chair.
Thank you. I have another question from Assemblywoman Thomas. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator. Just one quick question. Matching dollars from the federal side of the House, have that ever been considered?
Thank you, Julie Pizzina for the record. So there are CMS-funded residencies, the federal residency dollars. However, in 1996, and the dean can correct me if I'm wrong, it was sometime in the mid-90s, CMS dollars were frozen for residencies, so for graduate medical education. And it was based on the state's population at that time, and Nevada's population was obviously quite a bit smaller in the mid-90s than it is now. So those residency federal dollars tend to really aid a lot of states in the Northeast that were a lot larger at the time, and for that matter, California and some of our neighbors to the west that are a lot larger. But it hasn't changed for Nevada. It's just been stagnant, and you can imagine that other states don't want to give up those dollars or those funded slots to states like Nevada that could use them, and that's why this bill has been brought forward, because we need more graduate medical education. And I think, and Dean Kahn was the one who told me this statistic, so he can also correct me if I get a little bit of it wrong. But when students graduate in Nevada, something like maybe 50% of them may come back to practice, but if they do their graduate medical education in Nevada, more like 80% will stay in the state. And that's also really what this policy is aimed to do.
Thank you. Any other questions from the committee? Yep, Assemblyman Nguyen, please go ahead.
Just a quick one. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator. Just one quick question. I know that a lot of the boards that come through this body has issue with quorum, and they always changes the quorum because, especially when for advisory folks or folks who are so busy, there's so much going on that they fail to show up to meetings. Do you have any concern on this body that is created through this bill that all these folks who are being appointed don't show up because they're not getting compensated for it, and there's no kind of mandate for them to show up? Are there concerns on business being conducted and things being done timely so that this body is not established and it's just sitting there and no one can do anything about it?
Julie Pizzina for the record. Thank you, Assemblyman, for the question. I can only speak for myself. When I was part of the Commission on Tourism and now as a member of the legislature, I've certainly always showed up, and every, commission / committee I've been a part of has always had quorum. That said, the dean, I'm happy to say, because I like to be positive, this policy is signed into law, becomes part of that advisory committee. He could, I'm sure, probably speak better to that, so I'll allow him to answer, and thank you.
Thank you, Senator. For the record, Mark Kahn, Dean, UNLV School of Medicine. Both Dean Paul Houtman at UNR and I feel very strongly that we are in a position to judge GME for the state. We'd very much like to be on the committee. So I can assure you we will be very active in those meetings. Thank you.
Just a quick follow-up, Chair. So, Dean, thank you for that answer, and Senator, thank you for the answer. I want to make sure, and just to let you know, I fully support this measure, this bill. So, thank you for bringing this up. I just want to ensure that we create a group of folks that are dedicated and gonna show up. And it just seemed like this is a large group, and sometime when you have quorum and you need quorum, you're gonna have a problem getting quorum. So I just want to make sure that we help you in terms of ensuring that all these busy folks know that, hey, this is priority one. If you get appointed to this board, show up, because we have so many boards coming to this committee asking to change the makeup of their quorum or the makeup of their membership, because often they don't have quorum.
Thank you, and Julie Pazina for the record. And, what I would say is when it came to the makeup of this, we really wanted to include the experts, and that's why it's a little bit larger, including the deans of the medical programs in the state, including representation from not just larger counties like Clark, where you and I live, and Washoe, but also some of the more rural areas as well. So we really wanted to be representative of the state with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for the question, and I just want to point out that I think that several of the committees that we had heard were having problems with the local elected officials showing up to their meetings, and I don't see any of those in this council, but be warned. Are there other questions before we move on to testimony? Seeing none, we'll move into testimony. Thank you so much. We will start with support testimony in our physical locations and then move to the phones. I would invite folks to come up to the table. Please remember to say your name for the record. You may begin when you're ready.
Chair Peters, members of the committee, Connor Kane on behalf of HCA, we're in very strong support. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Peters, committee members. My name is Chris Bossy, representing Renown Health. For the record, we appreciate the work of Senator Pazina for working on this important bill, which will put into place the structure needed to expand GME in Nevada. We support SB 350. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the committee, Katie Ryan, Dignity Health St. Rose Dominican, also here in support. Thank you.
Madam Chair, good afternoon. Members of the committee, Constance Brooks representing the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. We are in full support of this legislation. We also look forward to working with Senator Pazina over the interim to expand this program with more funding and more support, and I'm certain that other NSHE institutions would participate as well. We look forward to that collaborative effort. Thank you.
Michael Flores on behalf of the University of Nevada, Reno. Ditto. I'm hoping that our dean is on the line and will be able to give testimony as well. But if he does, I just want to get on the record that we're in support and want to thank the sponsor.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Alejandro Rodriguez, Nevada System of Higher Education, and she's in strong support of this bill. We'd like to thank Senator Pazina for moving this forward. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Dan Musgrove, representing the Valley Health System of Hospitals. Currently, we have residency programs in internal medicine, family practice, general surgery, psychiatry, orthopedic, pulmonary neurology, and emergency medicine, and do not get any federal dollars for those. It's a tremendous cost, and would be a great chance for us to expand even more, and we completely support the bill. So thank you very much.
Blaine Osborne, Nevada Rural Hospital Partners. Happy to be here in support of Senate Bill 350. Thanks.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. Dylan Keith with the Vegas Chamber. We were hoping for further funding with this bill, but we are thankful for the Senator for bringing this bill forward, and we look forward to continuing to work with her as well as with others to try and continue to fund this program as it should be. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. Ashley Cruz with Career Nevada for the record here on behalf of Toro University and the future 180 doctors that they graduate every year. It is a critical piece of the puzzle that we need to continue to work through to ensure that we are providing care to our Nevadans.
Barry Cole, B-A-R-R-Y-C-O-L-E. Voluntary clinical faculty at the University of Nevada School of Medicine and Reno Department of Psychiatry. Very enthusiastic. We need fellowship opportunities. We have residency, but we need fellowship opportunities to go with the residencies. We believe that's one of the reasons our students are not staying in northern Nevada the way they are in southern Nevada. So hopefully this is the right direction. SB 350, thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else coming to the table in Carson City and seeing no one in the table in Las Vegas, we go to the phones. BPS, is there anyone on the phone line for support testimony on Senate Bill 350?
To testify in support of Senate Bill 350, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Caller, you are unmuted and may begin.
Yes, Chair Peters and members of the committee, for the record, my name is Paul Hauptman. I'm the Dean at the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine, and I'm calling in strong support of SB 350. Dr. Mark Hahn and I are working together to grow the physician supply in both northern and southern Nevada, and the best way to do it is through graduate medical education. As many of you know, data from the Office of Statewide Initiatives at UNR demonstrate that we would need nearly 2,500 physicians simply to match the U.S. median per 100,000 population. We appreciate Senator Pezzina's efforts in this area, and while we are hoping for new funding, we appreciate the fact that the two experienced deans of the two public medical schools in the state will help to decide how funding is set aside for GME. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your testimony. Next question, or next caller, please.
Chair, there are no other callers to testify in support at this time.
Thank you so much. We'll move to new opposition testimony in our physical locations. Is there anyone in Carson City or Las Vegas that would like to provide opposition testimony? Seeing no one coming to the tables. BPS, is there anyone on the phone line for opposition testimony today?
Chair, there are no callers to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you so much. We'll move to neutral testimony. Is there anyone who'd like to provide neutral testimony in Carson City or Las Vegas? Seeing no one coming to the tables. BPS, is there anyone on the public line for neutral testimony?
Chair, there are no callers to testify in neutral at this time.
Great. I would invite the bill sponsor for closing remarks. Waiving closing remarks. We will close the hearing on Senate Bill 350. And we're going to go ahead and open the work session on Senate Bill 350. I have been given permission by the speaker to waive the rules requiring the 24-hour period between hearing and work sessions. We will work session today. Are there any questions from the committee? Seeing none, I would take a motion to do pass. Thank you from Assemblyman Nguyen and a second from Assemblywoman Taylor. Any discussion? Assemblyman Hafen.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. I just wanted to disclose that my brother is an assistant professor of medicine for the UNLV Med School on a volunteer basis. There is no monetary impact to this bill, nor his position, so I will be voting in this matter, but I did want to disclose that information.
Thank you so much. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? The motion passes with those present. Thank you, Senator. All right, we are getting off topic here, guys. Okay, reeling it back in. No. Okay, we're moving on to our last agenda item today, which is public comment. Hold on. I'm going to take a 1-minute recess. Because we're in that part of session where things are really flexible, I'm going to put us into recess, and we will adjourn on the floor if we don't reconvene. And with that, we are in we're going to do public comment first. Sorry. I thought we had done it, and then we didn't. Public comment, we will start in Carson City and Las Vegas. Is there anybody who'd like to provide public comment today? Seeing no one coming to the tables in either location, BPS, is there anyone on the public line for public comment today?
Chair, the public line is open and working, but there are no callers at this time.
Thank you so much. We will close out public comment and we'll recess for now. Thank you all.